Board can see. Will the district clerk please call the roll?
We have Mr. Murphy.
Present.
Mrs. Mallon.
Present.
Mrs. August.
Present.
Dr. Adams. Present. Mrs. Napolitano-Ferno.
Present.
Mrs. Hutchinson.
Present.
Mrs. Kennedy.
Present.
Mr. Hauser.
Present.
Mrs. Poppy.
Present.
And myself, Ms. Cook.
Minutes of the Board of Ed. Can I please have a motion to accept the minutes of the July 12th, 2022 Board of Education meeting?
Motion. Second.
Well, are there any questions? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You want me to do?
So on the policies, there are no policies being adopted. Regulations and exhibits are in the purview of the superintendent and the administrative cabinet. So on the agenda right now is policy 5100R, which is a regulation about attendance, and it's for the edification of the Board of Education, and that is why it appears on the agenda.
Yes, so I have a... What are the intervention strategies? Can you provide some examples?
So, Mrs. Pisani, you're going to talk about that later or in your presentation or no?
That she's done.
The mental health for folks who are not attending school? Okay.
Okay, I'll hold on for my answer. I have one other question on that policy. If a parent does not sign this and return it, are they still obligated to, because it's like, sort of speak, it's a contract, isn't it?
So there's an obligation for student attendance just by law in New York State. So they do not need to actually sign this this is really just edification for the parents that there's a legal responsibility of a parent to have their children attend school. So yeah, parents are held to the standard whether they return the contract or not.
So we welcome Mrs. Joanne Pisani to do the mental health overview presentation. Director of Student Services. Thank you for coming.
Jesse, if I'm unable to, I'll call on your assistance. Thank you to the board, Dr. Adams, and Cabinet for inviting me to speak this evening. Before I begin my presentation on the Student Services programs for the 2022-23 school year, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for my new appointment as the Director of Student Services. I am humbled and honored for this opportunity to step into this leadership. Thank you. I pledge my commitment and my dedication to continue to help the students and families of the Connecticut community with their mental health. Although my caseload has now grown to 5,290 students, my passion and my purpose has remained the same, and that is to promote the overall wellness by educating the whole child. I believe together, with community support, we can better protect and educate our students. So at this time, I would like to share my presentation, which speaks to how we, the Connecticut School District, can provide mental health support services for our students and families for the upcoming school year. Okay. I thought I did? Oh, what? No, I did not. All right, you're going to. I think I'm going to let you do it. Thank you. So it is critical now more than ever for us to teach students to develop the skills in the area of social, emotional, and mental health. In order for kids to be ready to learn, they need to feel safe and understand how to identify and manage their emotions and know where to go to get the support they need. Our children are facing a mental health crisis. Visits to the ER for mental health related services have significantly increased. Prior to the pandemic, rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts among youth were on the rise. The pandemic exacerbated those issues. disrupting learning, relationships, and routines, and increased isolation. In addition, children with poor mental health may struggle with school and grades, decision-making, and overall health. And youth who struggle with their mental health are often also associated with overall health behavioral issues such as an increased risk of drug use, violence, and higher risk of sexual behaviors. So I'd like to just focus now on some of the programs that I have listed here to address some of those concerns. And I believe the continuation of these listed programs, along with the new initiatives listed, will help to support our students who are struggling with their mental health and mitigate some of the development of a disorder. So if you look at some of the successes that we've had over the years, we've had our mindfulness program. And as you know, the high school has the mindfulness room, so we will be continuing with that. And we would like to have our Cohen's Children's Medical Center, who presented tonight for our summer workshop series. So we initially had registrants coming. We had 100, and then we did not have 100 tonight. We only had 11, but I'm grateful for those families that did come out for the support, and it was a wonderful program. So we are going to continue with having Cohen's Children's Medical Center provide those support services for the children K through 5, but I'd like to include that this year for the middle schools and for the high school as well. So Family Service League will be a new support system for our students. Thank you to Ms. Yanni Kohler, who provided me with the contact. And we're going to be working with them to provide ways to help our students to reduce their anxiety. They are going to be coming here this summer, so those families who have not signed up with their children, please go to the website. Thank you, Dr. Adams. There's still time to register. Our workshops are next week. This is for the parent and the secondary child, and it's located at RMS. If the location changes, we will let you know. That's on 8/11. And then on 8/30, we have the parent and the elementary child at Oakdale Bohemia Middle School. So that's at 6 to 7. So please, if you have an opportunity, community, please come out. And I think it will be worth your while to participate in the program, especially for our students that are here. So for this year, we're hoping to bring forth a new initiative, which would be our Selfie program. This is going to help decrease some of the discipline issues. I'd like to ask for our outreach counselor to provide that support for our children that are referred to OSS and ISS. So continuing with those transitional support services, but adding an additional measure for those students for support. And lastly, just to highlight our Drug and Alcohol Coalition Task Force, Dr. Adams and I will be meeting with Joe Modica and Brian Dolan, the APs at the high school, have brought forth this idea to the school district. We're very excited to hear more about it. Next slide, please. So our parent workshops, we started this last year, and we had screenagers. We did have 300 registrants for this program. This was an online viewing, and we are already scheduled to have screenagers the next chapter come. I'm hoping maybe for September, late September, October. I also would like to have the Suffolk County Police Department provide the digital wellness support for the families as one of our workshops. Also, our social and emotional learning, our phase 3. And Dr. Dewey, of course, he's presenting this summer on the 24th to our families. So if you're available to come out the night of the 24th, he's going to be at RMS for a parent-child presentation. And, thank you so much for moving forward. So our mental health education lessons. So we have provided lessons in classes K through 5 provided by the social worker. These are the 3 core areas of support: self-care, relationships, and resource management. So we are aligned now with the New York State Mental Health Education Literacy in Schools. This program was put forth by the state and it was a mandate for all schools to include this in the curriculum for the students. This was 2018, right before the pandemic, when this was moved forward for schools. And I'm happy to report that we are providing that education for the students K through 5. So for our secondary students, we had our support staff at the high school push into all the classes. I believe it was through social studies or English. They were providing mental health awareness and also suicide prevention. We are working towards presenting for grades 6, 7, and 8, so the social worker and perhaps the guidance counselor can support. They will be pushing into the classrooms as well, providing that support. So I thought it was important to share with the community. This was the data results that we had. This is a portion of what was significant that I wanted to share, and it just speaks to the need that we have to put programs into place that help students with their anxiety. And if you see the number of students that reported, 604 at the high school feeling nervous, 574 kids feeling stressed. If you look at the percentage, we're looking at almost half of the students in the high school who completed this survey are reporting that they were feeling stressed. And if you look at our middle schools, although it's not as high as the high school, still, there's 19% of students reporting that they're feeling stressed. This is combining our middle schools. And if you look at our elementary schools, there was a minimal report, but however, it's still important to note that they are reporting that they're feeling stressed. And if our students are feeling stressed, we need to put programs forth to help them to reduce their stress. And that's why we're having Family Service League provide the supports for our students. Next slide. So this is a recent survey that we had sent out to the community. It was our survey for our summer wellness survey and also to support the need for upcoming workshops. We had 294 responses. And with that, you can see that parents are asking for workshops that speak to anxiety, coping skills to deal with school stressors, stress management, and how to cope with handling bullying for both parents and students. Those were the largest percentage reported for the data in the survey. So I'd like to speak a little bit about the social media issues. So how do we find the balance with social media? We all know it's important that we have to have our devices in our lives because they help us to communicate, but they can be addictive. So Screen Agents did speak to that, and also Dr. Dewey spoke to that. So how do we find the balance? How do we put forth the education so our students, our children, are utilizing social media in a healthy way? I think it's important that we bring forward the digital wellness. Elise Pulley and I work together to create the summer workshop series. We would like to continue for the upcoming school year to provide that education to families and for the students as well. So Ms. Kennedy, the program down on the bottom, All In, I reached out to Mrs. Teresa Rowden, and also I spoke to the social worker at OBMS. She is willing to move forward with bringing the program back to OBMS and modeling it for the district. So I'm excited to share that. And tonight at OBMS, I saw the pledge on the wall that they had created. Right, district-wide. So we're going to have Ms. Folbert work with Mrs. Rowden to find about the program, how she began the program, and how we can begin to start that OBMS and then model that for the district. So I'm excited for that. So thank you for bringing that forward at our Mental Health Advisory Council.
Other board members that have kids in school presently have mentioned that bullying is getting bad,
Bullying is awful,
right? So,
especially at OBMS. I have one in 7th there, and it is not good.
Well, social media has taken on a whole different meaning to these young people. Bullying doesn't just end now like it used to when we were kids, with you leave school, you go home and you have a safe haven. It's not like that anymore. You go home and there's a million followers, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is not being used appropriately, and some of these kids, because of how young they are, just don't understand the damage they're doing to other children.
And
You
some
know,
of
or to
those,
themselves, or to
The purpose
themselves.
of bullying, you're not gonna get rid of a bully, never gonna get rid of a bully that's taught how to bully by a parent perhaps, or uncle or whoever. But you're gonna teach kids how to put a bully in its place. Even if you just ignore them, and if I'm being bullied and you see I'm being bullied, I learned this from that group, and I'm being bullied, what you're gonna do is you walk by, you're gonna know to take my arm and say, let's go.
We try.
that's part of the bystander
I was gonna
and
say-
health education
Right.
lessons
And there's
that we've
also-
shared with the students over the years.
There's also, we have to teach them how to cope. Coping is really,
Right.
we have to learn, because in life, look at adults. It happens with adults. No offense, but not every adult knows how to use social media appropriately as well. It can be, bullying happens to adult people
Right.
too. The idea is that coping and using all of these mental health ideas that we put forward, and thank you, we had a lot of fun being in the mental health committee together.
And I hope
Um,
you can join next year.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And it's definitely, it was a lot of, and I say fun, but it was a lot of fun being involved. Seeing how a lot of people were so enthusiastic about being, I've been in a lot of committees, and that was one that people were really enthusiastic about helping, sharing,
Right.
and really giving great ideas. So, but
I have a concern. So, a lot of parents reach out to me. A lot of parents, their children are the victim of being bullied.
Mhm.
And I hear it many, many times that the child that's being bullied is being re-victimized and re-victimized over and over. Depending on who's handling the situation, that child still feels more stress because of the situation, again, by being re-victimized. It seems a lot of times that these bullies get away with a lot of this situation, and you're telling the child that's being bullied, well, just stay out of his corner, or stay out of his way, or, so what are you doing? You're fueling more to the bully and lessening the confidence in the victim.
Well, we do have a step-by-step process on how to handle acts of bullying in schools, and it's part of our DASA law. So every staff member in the Connecticut School District is aware of this. This is part of their GCN training, and it's also part of the DASA coordinator training for the identified coordinators in the schools. So when a parent reports to a staff member, we take that information and we file it on our in-house building form, and then we start the full investigation. And from there are safeguards put in place for students that are being bullied, and that's part of that process. So if a parent reaches out to you and expresses to you that they've gone to the school and the school isn't, I guess, supporting their student or protecting them, they can always reach out to the building principal, or you can reach out to me. You can send them directly to me, so we can help ensure.
Probably like a scenario, a child gets bullied. Are you putting the bully in the same room as a child that's been a victim? How do you,
Are you speaking of the investigation process?
well, just, you got the child that bullied and you got the victim.
Right.
What is the course of action that is taken?
So every course of action is different depending on the situation. So if a child comes down and you're asking them what had happened, they're not comfortable speaking with the student, of course, we're not going to bring the student and the child together. We meet with them separately. And then there's steps for interventions after that. So at the elementary level, if they're in the same class, it's increased supervision. At the secondary level, they could be maybe in the lunchroom. We could put safeguards in place to ensure that maybe we could speak to a guidance counselor, switch their lunch period. And then also the parental piece is
so
important
there-
as well.
Change the lunch period. But
Not-
most times,
not
it's
for the
the
student
victim
who's
that
being-
has
Right.
lost something in that, where
Right.
the bully, doesn't
It
lose
wouldn't be
any
the
privilege.
victim, it wouldn't be the victim. It would be the person who, after the full investigation, is identified of bullying the student.
No,
What is, I'm sorry.
sorry. Go
No, 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 okay. I'm just gonna ask, what are we doing in the way of what are you looking to do in the upcoming year to actually get to the children that don't come to you? So many children, and I know this from experience outside of school, so many kids are being bullied, but don't want to go home and tell mom and dad because they don't want to, they're embarrassed, or they don't want to tell them because, you know, they want to think they can handle it. You know, some of these things are way over
Right.
their head, but they think they can handle it. What are we doing, this district, to make sure that no kid falls through the crack? That we are actually looking for, you know, going through the assessment process
Yes.
and trying to find where are these students that need us?
Right.
You know, we had this discussion about kids sitting alone in the lunchroom. We said, okay, those kids, you know, you know, you almost could like go up to them and say like,
Right.
are you just a loner? What's the, you know, situation? But what about the kids who have the smile on their face? Are just going along to get along with maybe kids they don't want to be with, but they are being bullied and it's internal. Those are the kids you got to really worry about because they're the ones that are taking it to the next level.
Well,
That's why
I
suicide's on the
can answer your
rise.
question. I can answer your question. The question is, all in. The question is, in that building, for a number of years at OBM, for a number of years, every child, there wasn't a child that was missed, understood how, not to be a bully, understood what to do if someone is being bullied, if they're being bullied. They did it to such an extent that, you know, they overextended, oh no, he's bullying, but when they weren't. But every child in that building knew exactly what to do. So they protected each other at that point. They protected each other because there was no way a bully was going to get away with anything at that point because every kid understood. And it's the kids that have to understand the process, not just the adults.
Right.
There's also, this year RMS did a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
They
Be
did the
smart.
kind, I loved it,
Yep,
the
be smart, be
kind.
kind.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
a wonderful
amazing.
initiative.
It was amazing. Those are the kind of initiatives we need to see district-wide.
Right.
I've had that conversation with you when it came out. And we saw the kids with the backpacks. I said the string backpacks was a great idea. The whole thing, I loved it. I said that should have been something that we grew upon like all in, that was district-wide.
Right.
That we took the little guys all the way to the big guys and, you know, made it age appropriate.
Well, there's one other thing I did ask the superintendent in the email, if they can start the year off with a contest, a drawing contest.
Right. That's
Well-
listed on there.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So just to answer your question, to help those students that may be those students that we don't identify, that's about that connection with the teacher and the student, and also the counselor being present in the classroom. And at the elementary level, we do push into the classroom. We build the relationships with the students, and we give them the tools to be able to come to adults if they're being bullied or if something's making them feel uncomfortable. That's part of that DASA lesson that we teach in the classroom when we talk about the resource management. So it has been addressed, but I'd like to see that extended to the middle school for next year. And the high school has moved into providing that education this past year with mental health awareness. So I think we're moving in the right direction, but I'd like to focus more on the middle school for this year. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So you may be familiar with this triangle. Maybe some of you don't know, but the triangle is the strongest shape in nature. Therefore, this model of support is really symbolic of the strength of the three departments together. Ms. Joanie Kohler is here with me this evening, Ms. Lori O'Hara. Between myself and these two very highly intelligent women, we are working together to provide that support for the children in our community. So if you look at the tiered level of support, the multi-tiered level of support, this is, like I said, the response to intervention model. It helps to guide our schools on how to provide the best intervention for students. So at the tier 1 level of support, all students are receiving prevention education, moving towards the tier 2 support. This is more of a targeted approach for group or individual counseling. And then at our tier 3, this is the highest risk. These are our referrals where we're providing that higher level of support for the students. And it's crucial that we increase, when we increase the intensity of the intervention, that we have continuous communication and collaboration with the parents and also the staff members at every building. Next slide, thank you. So one of the ways we can provide support for students, this is a new program for this year. I know Ms. Coogan is not here tonight to present to you, so I just want to do a brief overview. This is Mila. This is her dog. She's beautiful. She's very, very cute. So we're very excited to bring this program forward this year for the high school. So the purpose of this program is to provide students and staff with mental health support, social and emotional competence, and just comfort and stress and relief in a variety of situations. And if you're a dog lover, you're probably going to love this program. But for those students that may be not, I guess, in love with dogs or animals, because we do have some are fearful of animals, there is a consent form for every student to participate and interact with Mila. We did reach out to Sachem School District, Dr. Adams and myself, and we did speak to them about this program and how they brought forth this program to their school. I believe it was Sachem East and North High School. Other districts that are utilizing this program successfully are Freeport High School, Great Neck North, Fort Salonga Elementary, and Bayshore High School. So the timeline for Mila to begin, this is going to be a very slow progression because she has to get all of her certifications. And also to mitigate the liability, we have to make sure she's fully insured and she's ready and completed all of her certifications before she can interact with the students in the building. So the timeline, I believe, Dr. Adams, would be around March 2023. So if it's later or sooner, we will make sure.
They usually certify the dogs when they're about a year old. So she'll be about a year old at that point, but as soon as her certifications are complete, she's already insured through NYSER, has already approved the insurance, so they need to just improve the certifications. So as soon as that's ready to go, we'll start that program.
Okay. So I've included this slide on staff trainings because I think it's important for the community to know that the staff is continuing their education and professional development. This past year, we did provide suicide safety for all school staff. So at the building level, we are, Ms. Poppy, bringing that training forward for Superintendent's Conference Day for the different staff members in the district as well. We're going to move forward with our mental health education in schools. I was speaking with Mr. Kola Hifar yesterday in regard to bringing this education for all staff district-wide about incorporating mental health education and how that looks in the classroom. And to speak to your point, Jackie, about the identification and assessment tool, with this education, it'll help them to identify better those students that may be struggling or in crisis. So we're hoping to move forward with the Ruler program. So I'd like to have a meeting with the board and to discuss, maybe you can invite me back. I can present the components of Ruler and the social and emotional learning competencies and what our goals are for the district. And, oh, okay, nope, that's perfect, you could go forward. So Islip Goes Purple, so Dr. Adams and myself have been a part of the opioid task force, and we have an initiative coming up, and I'd like for all the mental health support staff on September 1st to take a photo, perhaps outside John Pearl Elementary School, and just showing our support. And this initiative will help unite and raise awareness for mental health, substance abuse disorder, and just to celebrate those who are in recovery. So if you want to learn more information about it, please go to the website. And finally, my last slide, I thought it was important for everyone to know the new texting number for mental health support. This is our mental health crisis line. So you can text 988. This is our first 3-digit mental health crisis line. This has been designated As that new 3-digit code, it will route the callers to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and this went into effect July 16th, 2022. So when you call or text or chat, you're connected to a trained counselor, and it connects you to any resources if necessary. But as always, you can always reach out to 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255, and that's available for support as well. Yes.
You done? Okay.
Yes.
So I would like to ask a question, and then I'll open the floor to everyone else as well, if they'd like to ask. So you know from being in the mental health committee with
Yes.
me, how I feel about the social emotional learning and the ruler program.
Yes,
I would like to preview the curriculum.
okay,
I'm not for any of the CRT components that are in that program. They do have CRT components. I understand that we are not using them. I want to make sure that they are not in any part or portion of what will be given, whether it's to the staff or the students.
absolutely.
That's,
And I would just like to share that I sat through many trainings with Ruler. CRT was never brought forth once in any of the education I received, nor have I read that, but please, I would love for you to share that with me so I can speak to them about that, because I have not heard that.
it's actually, you can actually find, I can email you what I
Yes,
have.
please, please.
Because I know that I've showed it to you, it's the, I've showed it to the superintendent in the, it's right on the New York State Education's website. You
For
can find it
SEL or for Ruler program itself?
for the SEL, for
Okay,
SEL
so-
program. The SEL program does have in it very different CRT components. I showed the superintendent many, many different pages. And I just want to make sure, because like I said, I've always been very transparent with this. I am not in support of
Understood.
social emotional learning. I'm in support of giving children whatever, emotional and mental health, anything we can do for them, but the program itself, I'm not, I would like someone to show it to me more
Yeah.
closely and maybe be able to sway me.
Yeah.
Because right now, I can tell you, I'm not in support of that.
Okay,
I'm just one person, but I'm not in support of that as for the district or for our students because of things that I've read. I'm hoping that that's not part of it, and then we can,
Right.
so I would just like to preview before
Absolutely.
it goes out in September, if you can send that either to me by email digitally, or to Jesse, or to the entire board, however you do that, so that we were able to review it, just to make sure, because I know there are parents who are gonna come forward
oh, of
who have
course.
also come to board meetings and gone on about this, and they're right. There
Right.
are components. You may not have seen them yet because maybe they're not under the ruler one, but they are definitely there.
Right. So just to speak briefly, if they're not part of the Ruler program, which to my understanding they are not, you would be in support of that, if you would understand that the benefits of social and emotional learning, which is the foundation to help our students with their mental health. So if it's not Ruler, we have to put forth a program to support the kids.
I think when I had spoken to you last,
Yeah,
I
we did.
said to you that what I would have liked to see is Connecticut not spend the money on
With-
SEL ruler program and instead create our own. I
Right.
did say that at the
Yes.
mental health committee. I said, I know we have brilliant staff members that could put together
Mm-hmm.
an outstanding curriculum, and it be ours. It be Connecticut's, a standalone.
Right.
That's what I would love to see this year going forward.
Right.
Rather than us, because I know the SEL ruler program is not cheap. So what I'm saying is, what we spend on some of these curriculums, I think we have such good people in good spots that could probably put together a much better curriculum, maybe something that's similar, but could be Connecticut's own curriculum.
Right, understood.
That's
Thank
just
you.
mine, but I thank you, wonderful presentation.
Oh, thank you so much.
The contest.
Oh, so we're still in the planning phase of the contest. I believe Dr. Adams and myself and the administrators are going to be meeting, but I don't, Ms. Lee, was that your idea that you brought forth? I don't know.
You know,
Where it came
I just, and then a mural Whoever wins gets a mural at the high school, done of their picture.
It sounds like a wonderful idea. So we're going to move that forward as one of our initiatives for the students.
It's a good way to start the year.
Yes, I agree. Are there any other questions? Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you.
Board of Education topics, I have a couple things,
Oh, you do?
if you don't mind.
Okay, Board of Education topics?
Yeah, I'm hearing from some of the parents of our AP students that they are beginning to do or in the midst of doing their summer work, and I'm so proud of our AP students and the work that they do to come in really ready to run in the summer. And if you're having any difficulties at all with accessing the classes and getting locked out of your computer, I just wanted to let people know that we do have a specific email address for parents and students who are having technical difficulties, and that is virtualtechsupport@ccsdli.org. So very proud of you folks on a very hot day in August, doing that work, and so I just wanted to let people know it's virtualtechsupport@ccsdli.org if parents or students are having any difficulty accessing their computers that the district has given them. We had a little bit of a misstatement at the last board meeting, and that was that the thought process was that the free and reduced lunch was going to continue the way it normally did in the past, which is if someone was certified for free and reduced lunch, let's just use this year for example. I know everybody had free lunch due to the COVID pandemic work that was done. But normally folks who are certified for free and reduced lunch are certified through the end of September of the next school year. So our thought process was that folks were going to come back from the 21-22 school year into the 22-23 school year, and everybody was going to have free lunch in September, and that is not in fact the truth. Our school nutrition agency, Whitson's, confirmed that just the other day, that starting when we move right back into school, that everyone who has not been certified for free and reduced lunch will now need to pay for their meals, whether it's breakfast or lunch, when they are on campus. So I don't know if it's up there yet, Mr. Hauser, but I know is it there yet?
Tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock, it'll be on the website.
Okay, so on our website, there's the picture in the center, and on the left-hand side, the second big block is, keep losing my mic, is our nutrition block. If you click on that, there will be 3 things on there that will give you information. There'll be a parent letter, there'll be an application, and there'll be the grid that shows how many people in your family and what the maximum salary that you can bring in for free or reduced. So those will be up to date for moving forward into this new school year on the website as of tomorrow. So we just wanted to clarify that because it's not working the way it's worked in the past. In 22-23, it's likely that parents will have that same free and reduced lunch status through the end of September 23, because that's how it's worked in the past, but it's not working that way this year. So we didn't want anyone to not be prepared for that. I did want to do another plug for Mrs. Pisani's and Ms. Pulliam, Mrs. Pisani's and Mrs. Pulliam, the 2 Ps. Their summer mental health and digital wellness workshops. I just want to put another plug in there that this is on our website with the different dates, and you just have to scan the QR code and sign up, and they've already had 2, and there are 4 more scheduled, so please take advantage of this summer. So that's really all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I wanted to also, at this point, we have student council members in the audience. Are there student council, the new student council? Would you like to get up and speak? Are they? I don't see them on. So do we need to add them to the agenda, or can they just get up and speak during public comment, or I can open it for them first?
You can open it right now. Typically, student government doesn't get added until September. members, so that's why it wasn't on the agenda this evening. But you guys, you can open the floor to them now.
I'm going to open the floor first, okay? So I'm now going to open the floor for the first public comment portion of the agenda. This public comment period is for consent agenda items only. An additional public comment period will be held later in the meeting. Please raise your hand if you have a question or comment on a consent agenda item. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping to the podium. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to consent agenda items only at this time. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. If members of the audience speak out of turn, the board may consider a recess until order is restored. I'd like to call the student council first so you guys can speak.
Hello? Okay, just testing it. Hello and good evening. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come here and talk today. My name is Edward Feisler, and I am the class president of the class of 2023, and I'm also an active member in student government at our high school. I'm speaking here today to address an issue that has been affecting students and families here in Connecticut for decades. I would like to propose an idea where I would be working with our head of guidance, Ms. Yoni Kohler, that will not only benefit our students and families in the district, but also improve the image of Connecticut as a whole. My idea is to add an attachment to our current guidance department, which I would like to call the Student Future Center, which would be working with a career center, but I would like to call it the Student Future Center, focusing on transitioning our students outside of our high school. The Student Future Center would be dedicated to providing aid to our students on their paths exiting the high school. The motivation behind this idea is that after talking with many current students, alumni, and teachers who had once gone to Connecticut, our current guidance department does not provide as much as it possibly could in terms of helping students with things like the college application process or helping students move straight into the workforce out of high school. Students are left wondering what their next step in life is going to be, having to complete their journeys relatively on their own, and they don't know what what's next to come for them. Frequent questions asked by students are, well, what specific things are colleges looking for? What am I supposed to put in my college essay? What should I include, what should I not include? Like if a student has a desire to become like a firefighter, a police officer, a chef, necessary jobs that we need in our community, what is their next step coming out of high school? A lot of students don't know what they want to do. Each and every one of these questions can be answered with a little bit of effort and a little bit of researching. But this small cost of effort will go a long way in helping our students by at least giving them an idea of what their life is going to look like when they leave the high school. Most of the information that will be needed for us to help these students is already provided online completely for free. Checklists for certain colleges, requirements for different jobs, and everything else that will be needed to move forward into a specific career are already out there. We just have to go get it and bring it to our students in one place. But now, how would I envision this looking at Connecticut? My current vision of the Student Future or Career Center would either be a separate room, a separate office, or even just to simply start a desk with a computer. This should be a place where students can go whenever they need to. This would give them the opportunity to access all of the resources that we have gathered for them, and also allow our students to speak with some career specialist that's separate from our normal guidance counselors. This career specialist would not have to deal with other tasks that our current guidance counselors have to deal with, which would be scheduling, changing classes, and all other management with our students. But they will be able to focus primarily on helping our students move forward past Connecticut and into their lives, taking what each individual student is interested in and providing a realistic implication on the paths that they could go down, and they could choose what they want to do when they leave the high school. If our students know what they want to pursue when they're leaving the building, our families and our community will save a tremendous amount of money, which I can talk about that later if you need me to. But it's easy to see how this addition would greatly benefit our students and our families. But it doesn't stop there. The Student Future Center will shine a bright light on Connecticut, letting our community and our neighbors know that Connecticut will be going the extra mile to care and provide for our students. Connecticut as a district has had an amazing reputation, and we're seen as role models to other school districts on Long Island. I want to continue this trend. From years ago, I was in Sequest in elementary school at the time, but I remember this. When our head of security, Don Flynn, went to talk about enhancing security in our schools, and this is when we had installed the double door man trap system. We were one of the first districts on Long Island to actually implement that into our schools. And our neighbors took what we did and used us as a role model and now implemented that into their schools. So now ConnectWhat has been seen as a role model, and that other school districts are following what we do because we're showing them what you should do for your students. So we have shown that we care about our students in the past. And we have impacted other districts, which have greatly improved almost all schools on Long Island. The Student Future Center, in my eyes, would likely have a similar effect. The future students of ConnectWhat need this. They don't want this, they need this. It's not that we don't have the money, not that we don't have the resources, not that we don't have the people willing to help, but it's that we haven't had the idea until now. But I'm presenting this idea to you now, and I'm willing to work with Ms. Yanni Kohler and get something like this started as soon as we can. I'm hoping, I'm really, really hoping that we can get this started up even sometime this school year. Even though it won't be in full effect, just because we would have to work out the kinks in the system, we'd have to work out everything that we need to do. There's always a first everything, but there's no doubt that it wouldn't benefit our students. But I really hope that you consider this idea and you consider helping your future students and the future of our districts.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking. I think that's a great idea. I think that could really help. I know that there were students this year that had some issues when they were trying to do their college paperwork. I remember we were getting a couple of emails. I think it would be very beneficial. I think that everybody.
I think it's an amazing idea, and furthermore, from college essays, maybe help with resume writing. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Can you guys put something together and present that to the board? So we know what exactly the finances would be? What we need to know is what's the financial, implications?
I have a little bit of stuff that I can share. Because a traditional career specialist, I got this from across the country, is paid somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000. It would probably be a little bit more on Long Island just because cost of living is higher here, so it would be maybe a little bit more than that. But I think the important thing with this is that it's going to be paying itself back through the community. Because we have a very high graduation rate where our students are going to four-year colleges, and over 80% of college students in America switch their major at least one time. So what's happening is if they're switching their major, they're going to have to take an extra semester in college, or they're going to have to be, spending some more money taking more classes, because one semester can range anywhere between $6,000 and $15,000. So, if the Student Future Center is here and it's only helping, let's say 7 or 8 students. We have classes over 400 students. If it only helps 7 or 8 students and they don't have to take these extra semesters in college, it has already paid itself back. Sure.
I mean, I went to high school only a few years ago. I remember when I was in high school, the guidance counselor did it was like electronic-based questionnaire, and sort of took things that you were interested in, sort of kind of spit out at that time, different career choices. Do we do something like that?
We have like Naviance that we use through our school, and that's something that I really do want to continue using. The only thing is, like we had said before, we have students this year in the graduating class of 2022 that had issues and were looking for more help. The problem isn't that we don't have the technology or we don't have the resources. It's just that we need to do more because our students just aren't getting it yet.
I know we've been a strong advocate for having career night. We were able to do any this year? The middle schools, we keep pushing for it. I mean, my husband is in air traffic control. They're always looking to hire. I never hear that even spoken about as an option for kids. There's a lot of great job potentials out there for kids. Not necessarily you need to go to college to, be successful. So I think I mentioned it last year, a book that was sent to me that you don't need to go to college to be successful.
Yeah, that's one of the ideas that I was attempting to stress with this, but you don't have to go to a 4-year school after this. Like, yes, the Career Center would put you on the right path for going to college and choosing a college, what you should be looking for then, but it should also help answer questions about what career you would want to go into. If you want to be a police officer, you have to take a certain test. You have to pass certain requirements in order to become a police officer. So if somebody doesn't want to go to college but they want to go down that path, this center would help get them to that point. Mm.
Issue strategies and how to get to that path.
I think it's a great presentation, something we can discuss, and we can definitely get back to you guys.
Okay.
But, do you want to, good.
So Edward, thank you so much for sharing your vision with us. And I'm confident and so pleased to share that Mrs. Yoni Kohler was onboarded last spring in the district. And I know that she has professional experience and a goal and a vision for implementing the type of structure for our high school students and for our students district-wide that you're referencing here. So I'm feeling incredible about the potential of some consultation between both of you to kind of move this idea forward. I would be remiss if I didn't mention one thing, and this is a plug that I was going to extend at some point tonight. This summer, the district is offering some free courses through Scope Educational Services in the last 2 weeks of August. And part of those offerings for our students in 11th and 12th grade are free college essay writing workshops. So if people are out there who are interested in kind of working toward completion of their college essay prior to the start of the school year or gathering some ideas, there's a free opportunity at our doorstep. And we are able to have some additional enrollment in that course. So if you are interested, the information is listed on our district Facebook page and our social accounts. I saw that it was just tweeted yesterday, and so I'm happy to also kind of align people with the correct contacts if they're interested in registering. So I'm feeling really good about some of the opportunities.
So could that, I think that's important information that should be emailed.
Sure, we
to
have
your
some
11th
vacant
and 12th
seats.
grade parents.
Robocall to hit people.
I'll do both.
If you can do both, that would be great.
Sure, not a problem.
That was emailed. I got an email about that scope thing. And I only have an incoming junior, sophomore,
I feel like it needs to be done again
10th grade.
when it gets closer
But
to
it was
the date.
emailed out. It
Because
was.
I have to be perfectly honest with you, and I meant to ask Mrs. Pisani, so I'll tell you again. I actually had that question and I forgot. Oh, if I said to you, it's almost like signing up for the mental health workshops. For many parents, we sign up for things and then time or work or something gets in the way and then they go like this. Jackie, did you make something? I said, what is it? Is it tomorrow? And they go, no, it was yesterday. Huh? I said, it wasn't intentional. Sometimes with the balance of children, work, and everything else. So I do think for the parents' sake and the students, because we do have 11th and 12th graders working, I think it would be beneficial to do it almost in steps. Like if you can send it out, if you already did, then wait. And when it gets to like a week before, and even the night before, I would say I don't know how many times you have to do it, but I think it's beneficial for parents like myself who need the reminding.
Which I think that would be another aspect of this center where, once it's in place, we would be providing this information to, let's say, the junior class before the end of the school year. So now they know what to look forward to in the summer. Because right now, with my class, Common App had just opened August 1st. So literally yesterday, and I'm already getting questions from some of my peers saying, what am I supposed to be doing? How do I do this? How do I do that? So, I don't know if they know how much of this information's out there. So I'm like we were just discussing, but definitely pushing forward with this. It should get better each and every year with how much we help our students. Because I call the Student Future Center just because it's not really for me. It's for our future students. It's not necessarily going to benefit me as much as it will kids 10 years from now. But that is the whole goal here.
Thank you so much, honestly. We appreciate it, and I think it's a wonderful idea. The other board members, we think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming tonight. Is there anybody else who would like to speak at this time?
All right, first, I just want to say that's an amazing idea, and as a parent and a community member, I will help you with anything you need. 110%. We desperately need it in this district. Guidance is amazing, but there's a lot of loopholes, and you're right, Common App opened the first, and a lot of kids have no idea, and honestly, a lot of parents have no idea what to do. It's an impossible task for our guidance counselors to cover all of it. It really is. And having my third one going through, I can tell you there's a huge difference from when the first one went through to the third as far as communication with the district. When we had our director of guidance then, I was able to come in over the summer, sit down, learn about how Naviance worked, learn how the Common App worked, everything. I haven't had any of that information since then, and a lot of parents are like, wait, what are you talking about? And I've been trying to let everybody know the best that I know, which is limited as it is. But, so I just want to tell you, that is amazing, and I 110% support you, so absolutely fantastic. Mrs. Pisani, I'm so, welcome to our district. I love that you're hitting the ground running. It's been great with this mental health advisory committee, learning all these new things. I love that you're trying to implement all these great things. Look, I'm all for try everything, and hopefully something sticks for everyone somewhere. Nothing is absolute. A couple of issues. Dog therapy, we had it in OBMS. The kids had to earn it. You should never have to earn anything mental health. That is a big no-no. We do dog therapy in my building. It is not earned. You sign up. I understand it has to be scheduled because you can't obviously see the whole school at once, but you should never have to earn anything mental health. That absolutely infuriated me last year. It is absolutely wrong. As far as all of this ruler, SEL, however you want to do it, I'm noticing we're not really encouraging staff as much to learn. We're putting a lot of this on the kids, and that's great. The kids definitely need these tools to function as adults and to help them regulate and to learn how to function in a civilized society. But we also need to have our teachers be on board and also be taught as well. So this way we could work hand in hand because we really should be a partnership. So that's something that I think is important. Our tech department, fantastic, but they're not really keeping up with the social media. There's a ton of ConnectWatt bullying accounts online, and there's 100 excuses why we can't stop them. Yes, I know that some of the social media people companies are not willing to work with us, but I think it's pretty easy to figure out who starts the accounts because as someone who's not super tech savvy, a lot of times I could see who starts an account, but we need to be on that a little bit better. Maybe hire a young person to do it because they could figure it out in 2 seconds. And I hate to say it like that, but a lot of these kids know it better than I do. I fully admit I'm older and I'm a little bit slower with all that stuff. Lee, I love the idea of the all-in, but I'm going to tell you that there's no bullying program that's absolute. There absolutely were kids that were bullied with all-in. I could name over a dozen families off the top of my head whose kids were bullied during the all-in phenomenon, okay? They might have known where to go, but they were still bullied, and a lot of them now, out of high school, still have lasting effects from the horrible years at OBMS where they were bullied when the all-in nonsense was going on. I don't want to say nonsense, when the all-in program was going there, because it was good for some kids. The rural program, you don't want to spend money, I absolutely agree. When we brought the 7 Habits program in that we no longer have, that we spent tens of thousands of dollars on, and I stood up here week after week and said, this is ridiculous, we no longer do it, because I said then, why don't we have DASA or somebody we have a committee, let them write a program instead of spending all this money, instead of trying to be a lighthouse school, instead of a blue ribbon school, which would make way more sense because education is important. We no longer do that whole lighthouse 7 Habits nonsense, but we spent all of that money. So I agree with you on that. I think we are capable of creating a social emotional program. I do understand the need. I have read extensively about the rural program. I do understand your concerns. I understand the program that it was built off of. I did not see those components when I delved deeper into the programs. I have been reading about it for the last 10 months in depth. And I do understand the concern of it, but I do agree with you in the fact that we are going to spend all of this money on this ruler program when we really do have in-house, we have curriculum writers, we have so many great educated people in this district that are capable and also that know our community and they know us. So if we have that, I think we should utilize it. And I think that it might be a good idea to consider that and to save that money because we keep bringing all these programs and sometimes it's a fantastic idea to do that, but other times it just kind of fades out and like, that was a great program, but we could have spent, $150,000 on, I don't know, maybe getting another dog to come in so we don't have to schedule it, so the kids could have like a better schedule, something. So something just to consider. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody have any questions on consent agenda items?
I do.
Okay, good. You're up. All right, so we're moving on, personnel, instructional and non-instructional. Can I please have a motion to approve all personnel schedules as presented?
Motion.
I'll second.
Are there any questions?
No.
Anyone? All in favor? Okay, motion so carries. Next. Financial matters, can I please have a motion to approve items 2 through 4?
Motion. Second.
Are there any questions?
No.
All in favor? Aye. On the consent agenda, can I please have a motion to approve items 2 through 18?
I'd like to table one. I'll motion, sorry.
Are there any questions?
I'd like to table number 4. And I do have a question.
Okay, you're up.
Okay, so, this question is for you, John. So the sound consulting, obviously it's for the high school to do the acoustical work, is that it? No. It's something else?
No. It's actually through Mr. Hauser's office. It's sound actuarial consulting, where they actually, you want to explain it, Mr. Hauser?
Oh,
Yeah, actually for the workers' comp program.
So we did-
process that every week on Fridays we meet, go over the projects. They're also there periodically throughout the week as we get to different steps in the construction process.
Oh, that's interesting. So they have a significant impact on obviously the design and the fact that they're coming in. I think that's very cool.
Well, I mean, acoustics are not new. So the people that engineered this type of system and utilize the spaces that we have, it's been designed, it's been utilized elsewhere. The question of how it's incorporated into technology.
Wasn't like that we had a challenge in ours because of the way the room was laid out. So it was almost like
Correct. And I can show pictures as to the actual three-dimensional idea as to what they're doing to break up all the straight lines so we don't have that echo effect. We don't have the bouncing roof. We're adding all sorts of angles on the ceilings and the walls, floating panels, sound absorbing panels, everything to lessen the straight lines in there. Even now, with just parts of the ceiling opened up, the acoustics in there have changed tremendously.
very cool, very exciting. Thank you. So what step are we at now? And when do you figure that it'll be completed?
So,
Mr. Allen, can I just ask you to grab a mic because it is hard for.
To hear, and we are live streaming as well, so. Thank you.
Sorry about that. So all of the projects that are outside of the realm of the auditorium and the raising of the OBMS fields will be done at the start of the summer, start of the September. Libraries will be usable spaces. Classrooms that we've abated and replaced all floors will be usable spaces. The guidance suite will be a usable space. The only challenge we're going to have is the delivery of the furniture and getting those guidance counselors moved from the library into an effective space. And unfortunately, that's going to take a time because the furniture order is not going to be delivered until the 28th. The space will be done, the construction will be done. it'll be a space that's ready to use, but we're gonna have to still take a little time to do that transition. There's gonna be finishing touches. We're gonna have punch list items that are gonna be taking, months to resolve. That said, you were asking specifically about the auditorium. I am pushing as hard as I possibly can to have the auditorium open in time for all the winter concerts. As of now, and I just spoke with Mr. Melfonte today, he has the winter concerts scheduled to take place in the middle school. We need to make sure we reserve the spaces there to do it if need be, but we are going to push as hard as we possibly can so that the seniors can have an opportunity to present in the auditorium at Christmas or the holidays.
Seating, or do we have money in the budget to get new seats?
So that was shared at, months ago, probably February. I presented to the Board of Education a quote from a contractor to replace the seats. So now that we're getting very close to the end of the project, we have an idea of the available finances. And what we said from the very beginning in that space was that if we had the ability, we would replace them. If not, we would take them all out, professionally clean them, and then bring them
So
back
my
in.
question is, do we have money so that they can be replaced?
That's my point. We did that months ago. We approved, the Board of Education approved that months ago
Oh,
to,
okay.
to go forward with that expense.
Gotcha, thank you. Yeah.
There's a lot going on this year.
Yeah.
Let's forget that.
So the goal, the push, is to have the winter concerts held there. That's the goal.
The goal, and they're gonna get it done. I have faith in John. John, I have faith in you. And if I have faith in you, that means I'm gonna see the Christmas concerts this year in the high school. I can't wait.
It's the holiday concert, but.
Well, the
I'm going
holiday
to-
concert, so you do know that I love the holidays. I celebrate all of them, starting December 1st.
We-
So I'm really hoping that it gets done by then.
So one of the things that the Board of Education has a responsibility to do is board walkthroughs. And I know in years past, we've used that opportunity to introduce some new board members to the different buildings, some of the different spaces in the buildings, and some of the projects that had already been approved. At any point, if the Board of Education wants to start scheduling those meetings, we can do that now. I can show you where we're at. I can show you and explain where we're going, and I can try to show you what the finish line looks like.
I would like to sign up for the first week of December at the high school. And I am certain and so excited
And we're going to start
to
in the
have
auditorium.
that done. I'm so excited to have it done. So you can schedule me for the first week of December at the high school.
All right. I will tell you, as exciting as it is for yourself, and I've got to figure the staff and the students, it is a project that I think we are all going to be incredibly proud of when it's done. It is, even at this point, with just the simple demolition that's occurred, the space is already transforming. It is unbelievable.
I really would like to do everything in our power to make it happen because
Understood.
there are seniors, no, I understand, but there are seniors that are graduating and it's,
100%.
and music is a big thing for them. I'd like them to be able to be on their stage at the high school for their last concerts.
We would too.
So
100%.
We really do.
I'd like to make that a top priority if
That-
possible.
It has been my priority since the moment we decided that this was the year we were going to do it and when we were starting the project. Unfortunately, we didn't have the ability to start in June like we had hoped initially because we had to make sure we had an available space in case graduation was rained out. So we weren't able to start the demolition until the very last day of school. If you would have seen the high school the very last day of school, we had dozens of people running around with hard hats, not even knowing where they were going yet. It's been that way almost every single day. I met Christina Poppy the other day in the hallways, and I think when she left, she didn't know where the front of the building was anymore. The place is, it is a madhouse, making tremendous progress every step of the way and every day. It's visible. The last week has been measurable as to what we've accomplished and what I should say, what the contractors are accomplishing. And I suspect every single week is going to be the same thing. But to really truly understand it, you need to see it. And don't wait till December.
Actually, Jesse, I had emailed you that I was interested in seeing the progress of the work, so.
And
We did it last year, we all,
absolutely did.
and the year
Absolutely.
before.
Yep.
So I have no problem if whoever wants to go, we set up a date, because I do like to check out the schools. I think me and you did that a couple,
100%,
2 years ago, yeah, we did that like 2
Yep.
years ago, we went to all of them.
100%.
So if we can set that up, that would be great.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
2 years ago, we had to do it for the pandemic features.
Well,
That was
it's
what
an
it-
obligation. As a board member, it's an obligation to make sure the buildings are ready to open for the school year. With all the work that we're doing, it may not make sense to wait. We can start them anytime. So what I'll do is I'll send something to Jesse tomorrow. We'll see when people are available, and we will start scheduling it up as people's availability is. I am in every building multiple times a day. It doesn't matter to me if we do it as a group, 2 or 3 people at a time, whatever combination works best for yourselves, because the time at my desk right now is less than minimal. I am in the field every single day, 95% of it. That's fine. It's whatever works best for yourselves.
I don't, if other people wanna go now, that's fine, but I wanna do it the week before, so that if there is complaints, I can actually say I was in the building the week before, and I didn't see that, or I did see that.
Fair enough.
If it's
Honestly,
a month in advance, I'm not gonna see how it's gonna look.
100%. Whatever's convenient. So I'll send something to Jesse tomorrow, and we'll start working on those dates. And it's, in all honesty, it's to whatever
I
any
like the week
person's.
before school starts.
Okay. We'll aim for that, and we'll figure out still the best day and time. Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from any of the other board members? All right, so then, can I please get a motion to approve items 2 through 18 with the exception of number 4, which we tabled? So, okay, all in favor?
The reason why I
It's for us.
tabled it is because there is nothing attached, and normally we have a conversation before it gets on the consent agenda.
I don't think everybody looked at we did get, I think, a copy, but,
Normally we have a conversation before it goes on the agenda.
absolutely, that's fine.
Yeah, so we're gonna
So
table
why
that.
don't we have a quick executive session, usually we always put this together.
With that, I'm fine with that.
That's fine, if you guys wanna do that, that's fine. On to, nothing was removed from the consent agenda, so then we'll go.
One was removed.
Well, number 4, we tabled, but we're gonna go back into executive, so. Okay, we're coming up on our public comment. Now, this is the one that you guys can say, this is for anything you'd like to bring up. I will now open the floor for open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. You should have received a numbered card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only, please. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. If members of the audience speak out of turn, the board may consider a recess until order is restored. Is there anyone who would like to speak?
So we haven't yet started doing the investigatory work around the board's allocation for monies for 22-23. That's going to be a longer process, but it's certainly that will come onto the table during that process.
Anyone else at this time? Okay. I need a motion and a second with the motion clearly stated the reasons for the executive session to go over the table item number 4.
105F to discuss the employment history of a particular person.
Oh, I have that here. And exempt under open meetings law to seek legal guidance from the board's attorney.
Yeah, not that part, but because our
That's
council
okay.
has left the meeting, but yes.
If the board needs to reconvene the public meeting to vote on an item, the public should be informed of this and given approximate time. We will only be reconvening to an adjournment, it looks like, or that vote for the 4.
Correct, yes. So now you need a motion and a second and then a vote to move into exec.
Motion and a second to move into exec.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming. Have a good night. Thank you for presenting, appreciate it. And love the idea, can't wait to hear more.